Hello, everyone. How are you doing? I'm Will D.
Good. Great.
Everyone there?
Yep.
Okay. I'm Will D. We've had some technical difficulties this morning. This is a GEG Mississippi event, and we will be talking about Google Educator groups today. With me, I have GEG leaders Christy Fennewald and Sarah Thomas from D.C. and Texas, respectively, as well as Jordan Pedraza from Google. And how's everyone doing this morning?
Great. How are you?
Awesome.
Excellent. So far, so good. All right, so let's get in, jump into this, and hope all will sort of work out. Jordan, to you, when Google decided we really wanted to connect educators together and form Google Educator groups, sort of what was the mission behind that, and what did Google think? I guess what were their goals for it?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I think I already touched a little bit on this on the previous Hangout, but just to recap. So, back in 2013, so beginning of last year, we the Google for Education team kind of all came together and tried to look at the current landscape of our education communities. And the good news is there's already a lot of great momentum and activity out there today. But we were specifically trying to understand what is the experience like for teacher communities today, as they're really important parts of schools and of fostering change and incorporating new tools and resources into teaching and learning at schools. And so what we realized was there's definitely a lot of kind of ad hoc random mailing lists or Google Plus communities or other kind of ed tech groups out there for teachers to join. There really wasn't a clear kind of structured program dedicated for teachers using Google tools or interested in using Google tools. So that's when we realized we had an opportunity there globally. There just really wasn't a kind of clear structured program for that. And the other thing, what we've learned from teachers is, while there's a lot of opportunity with all these tools out there to connect, like over Hangouts, like we're doing here, and really expand our networks for learning and be able to engage with others from around the world. That's really awesome. But sometimes you also want to be able to connect with those in your own backyard. Maybe at your own kind of school districts or neighboring school districts or states or regions, because especially from a curriculum perspective and maybe recent initiatives. Or challenges or resources, sometimes it can be helpful to also connect with others that are kind of in the same environment and facing the same context as you are. So we wanted to create a program that would still facilitate online engagement and expand those networks for everyone around the world, but also structure it by a region kind of local focus too, so that it was easier for teachers to kind of meet up and connect with each other in their neighboring schools and areas. So that's kind of how the concept of Google Educator Groups was born. And actually, this kind of structure and format, and even the brand, is not that new, because we've done this before with other audiences, just not in education. So for example, we have a program called Google Developer Groups, GDG, and then also Google Business Groups, GBG. So actually GEG is kind of a sister of all these other programs that connect others out there. GDGs are for kind of more technical professionals out there looking to develop apps and tools on the Google platform. And Google Business Groups are business owners and leaders or technology professionals at businesses looking to leverage the most of Google for their own needs. So luckily the kind of structure and framework and branding was pretty easy to kind of replicate for educators. But obviously we wanted to have a different logo, have a different kind of tone and feel, let it be even more organic and grassroots and fun, because we think that that's really important. But the mission, I would say, is pretty similar to the other programs we had for other communities. It's really a way for us to help support all of our communities and our users and our customers at scale. And also, we think that there's something to be said for kind of peer-led learning and sharing and professional development and networking. And we've seen this again with other audiences time and time again, where learning best practices, getting ideas, sharing custom solutions or workarounds or tips and tricks or just news, sometimes coming from a peer rather than Google directly all the time is even more effective because they can frame it in a way that you can really relate to and apply things, and it's someone that you can really continue to collaborate with and get even more empowered from. So that was kind of our larger vision and goal with Google Educator Groups.
Excellent, thank you. Christy, you are a all-around Google Apps ninja and fantastic, and you've been on my other podcast. Take me back to when you are told you are now will be a leader, and so you are starting to go through the process of how will I put together my events and what sort of events that I would be doing. So what was your thought process, and what was your first event?
Yeah, we were told, I guess it was back in almost December or January, it was about a year ago, that Central Texas to start leading this. And our original thought was we have a big group here called EdTech Austin that's got almost 1,200 members in Austin. And we wanted to kind of, because a lot of the leaders of GEG CENTX are also leaders of EdTech Austin. So we wanted to kind of go by what we knew of EdTech Austin, which is a lot of networking, but it's also a lot of, each time we meet, there's a monthly topic, there's a monthly focus with an outreach to kind of model off of that. So our first event kept getting pushed back, so it ended up being more of a hangout series. But our first physical event, we actually met this past summer, and it was just a small get-together of like-minded educators here in the Austin area, and we worked on getting a few of us certified to become Google Education trainers. And since then, we've moved on. We've done the Google Lesson Plan Jam, and we're actually planning an event in February called the GEG Fair, with a goal of having a lot of different booths at TCA, which is our big conference, afterwards for people to come to and to get more information about. Because we found a lot of times what teachers want is just that connection piece. So they'll go to the booth, they'll find their resident expert, and that's now their person. But we're still going back and forth between networking and outreach. And the goal is to potentially kind of get this more student-based and run. So students becoming some of our leaders, because they're the ones who drive teachers to change. So kind of maybe moving forward with that.
Excellent, excellent. So Sarah, sort of same thing for you, and I know that you've done a lot of virtual events. So how do you sort of come up with the topics that you will explore?
Well, we started GEG D.C. metro area this summer. I became a Google certified teacher in I want to say in June in the Atlanta cohort, and that was really a life-changing experience. And it was there that I got more information about Google Educator Groups and how to start one in my area. So submitted an application for that, and we were able to launch DC metro area Google Educator Group in I want to say August. And during that time, then we had kind of a weekly focus on different activities, and we would gamify the structure. We would have different challenges and things of that nature that different people, different members could do, and they would earn a certain amount of points. And it was just a wonderful experience collaborating with everyone. But similarly to what Christy was saying, then we would have different focuses every week, and the way that we came up with these, it was pretty much a member-driven type of initiative, where whatever they needed, whatever people were interested in, then we would pull together our resources, whatever we knew about it, and have these hangouts, these weekly hangouts ourselves. But we would also pull in experts from other areas to come in and share their knowledge. So it was really kind of a communal sense of learning, and it was a great experience. So we did that. We were very active doing that during the summertime. As the school year has continued, we've continued to keep in touch and still have our active back channel on Voxer. But in terms of themed events, then we really hit those hard when we tend to have more free time. So over the winter break, then we might have more of these events that we'll be working on.
Excellent, excellent. And I've been in some of your events I participated in. I actually got my notice, I guess, I was driving back from ISTE, and that's a long drive in one. People think, oh, never mind. It was a very long drive. I'm coming back, I'm stopping at a gas station, check my email, and it's like, oh, you've been selected. So I was very excited about that off of my ISTE high as well. And so we have done a lot of, I guess at least once a month, we've been doing some of these hangout events. I am hoping to start doing some meetups in our city. There's a couple of people who I've been talking to, and hopefully we can get this going, like Go GEG Mississippi. So that's what I'm trying to do. Jordan, all of us here, are leaders, and I guess what I'm trying to get at, what kind of support, I guess. I know there's the GEG Leaders Community Group. We've all been in there and asking questions and sort of supporting each other. But overall, what is, I guess, Google's support for GEG leaders?
Yeah, definitely. So there's a few components. So you already mentioned the GEG Leaders Google Plus community. So as we keep adding new leaders literally every week, that's becoming another great resource, I think, hopefully for GEG leaders, but also for us. It's interesting and helpful to see what kind of questions and ideas and discussions and activities kind of are shared on that community. So that's a great place to just discuss best practices, tips, tricks, ideas, questions, everything. And of course, our team is on that community as well, so we're seeing and monitor everything as well. So then and also actually the one thing to add to that is what we're starting to see at some of the bigger conferences and events that happen, there'll be some cross-regional GEGs getting together. So for example, at Q was it this year? Yes, this year, GEG SoCal and GEG Central Valley, California kind of joined together since it was in Palm Springs area, Southern California. So it was cool to have teachers from both of those chapters kind of mix and mingle as well as those leaders. And then same for BET in London in next month in January. All of the Europe GEG leaders are going to get together to also share ideas and network, and of course with their corresponding teachers in their chapters. So anyways, we're appreciating that this community is just a starting off point for the GEGs to kind of extend their networks and connect with each other. Because we're in certain locales, when we're all going to happen to be at the same place at the same time, we absolutely should get together. And so that leads me to my next point, is another thing we're going to be trying to do is at every of all the major conferences, typically we've had engagements with Google certified teachers, for example, but we want to extend and open that up to GEG leaders as well, because they're also an integral part in the community, and they're a great liaison for us to kind of hear what's going on the ground and funnel that back to us, so we can really make sure to engage with everyone. So at ISTE, for example, we'll definitely make sure to have a way for all GEG leaders to kind of get together from across the U.S. and maybe even some internationally that come in for that event. And then the second component I was going to mention was the GEG Leader Portal. So that has a wealth of information, everything from your first days and getting started, setting up your Google Plus community and thinking about your first events and promoting it and kind of growing your membership, all the way through what kind of activities can you do. So there's a lot of information on there, and it's just meant to be a starting point. It's no means has to be, oh, I have to walk through every single step the way they've outlined it. I have to do every kind of event they've suggested. No, that's not the case at all. It's really more just to show examples of what we've already seen that works well or what we think could be helpful. So you'll see resources like our GEG curriculum. If you want to kind of use an offline, friendly, hands-on activity-based curriculum for any events you want to do, we have that available. if you want to kind of get an idea of different events that some GEGs have already done or that we think could be interesting to try to do, that's also available there. So as we continue to invest more in the program and have more examples and materials available, and also better ways to track information, we're going to keep adding that to the GEG Leader Portal. So that's the second aspect. And then the third aspect is more specific to activities that GEGs might do. So there's an event registration form when you're planning your next event, and there's a few kind of options you can check if you're interested in additional support from Google. So things like if you need assistance trying to find a venue, getting ideas for that. If you need assistance on figuring out what topics or content or what kind of agenda you want to have. If you need assistance with trying to find speakers or kind of experts in a certain area. So there's different options there where we can kind of consult and advise and kind of point you in the right direction depending on what you're trying to do. One common question I've gotten of late is about swag or recovering other costs at events, maybe for food or things like that. At this time, we're not able to provide funding for that because of legal and compliance kind of restrictions. So, every region, county, and city and town, has all of their different rules on whether, public government employees or teachers can receive vendor support for anything. And so that's why we're kind of, at this point, have been told by legal to just not be able to do that at this time. But in the next year, I'll be working closely with them to figure out what are some alternatives, ways we can get around that or work within those restrictions. So we're definitely hoping to give more support in that format next year. But yeah, there's definitely some more restrictions around that. So, and then the other thing I wanted to mention, this is not fully announced or released yet, but we're starting to figure out how we can also kind of have GEG awards for the different chapters and leaders out there, because we really do want to recognize all the wonderful things everyone's doing, and kind of give other forms of support that way. So we're developing, kind of a clear point system, so everyone has an opportunity to kind of get recognized depending on what their area of expertise is or what they've really been, doing well at. So we're thinking about how we could do that at a both global level and then a regional level, within different countries and regions. So more details will be coming on that, but I'm really excited about that because I think that will be a cool opportunity to recognize the great activities of the chapters, and also even the members, who I also feel need more recognition, and it's kind of our first approach at extending our reach. I think we've done a good job with engaging that early adopter crowd of Google for education, with our Google certified teachers and, our first kind of customers in schools, and that's great. But now I think we really want to, be there for teachers and schools that are just getting started. They're just getting introduced to everything. And so we're hopeful GEG will be one way for us to better support those groups coming in.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, Christy, let me go with this theme of outreach. Within the members of your group, how are you as a leader reaching out to your members to get them engaged? What tips do you have for those GEG leaders out there who are saying, my community isn't as active as I would like it to be, and we're not able to sort of move forward in a way that I feel excited about? What advice do you have for them in that?
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely say, we still struggle with it. We have over 600 members in our community, which is quite a lot, but we don't have near that many that come to the events. So there's a lot of people in it that are lurkers. But what I've discovered is you have to just keep trucking on. Even though sometimes we'll have 10 people at our event, there's nothing wrong with having 10 people at your event who are out there, who are having engaging conversations, who are trying to make a difference. You could have 100 people there who don't get anything out of it, but if you get 10 come there who do get something out of it, you're still moving forward. So we've had events that have been small, but we just keep on doing it, and we keep getting good feedback from those people who come, and those people who come continue to go on and to do something great. I think about some of our members who are now, I consider them leaders because they're also promoting and doing a lot. Like, I'll shout out to Casey Bell, who leads GEG North Texas. I mean, she came and she's just blossomed, and now she's got, her impact is huge. So that's why I say just start small and don't be worried if it is small.
And Sarah, and how are you reaching out? Are you going both, let's say, digital, or are you also including some print in how you reach out to your members as well?
I think in terms of our member outreach, the beauty about the GEGs is that they are geographically based. However, everyone is welcome. So we do have a lot of members coming from different parts of the country, and the fact that we are utilizing technology and utilizing resources such as Google Hangouts makes it inclusive to all. Another thing that I really like is that you can be part of as many GEGs as you'd like, even though we encourage people to definitely be part of their own regional GEG as well. But one great thing is that the word seemed to spread among members. For example, if they joined, then we would encourage them to tell a friend, invite a friend to the group, and that way, that helped us grow our member base. In addition, I did a lot of spreading the word through social media, and other members have as well. We have our co-leader, Charity Harbeck, who's also been phenomenal in terms of getting the word out. In addition, we've also been spreading the word at physical events in terms of conferences, Google summits, also regional technology conferences or educational conferences. Always putting that on the slide every time one of us presents about, this is our Google Educator group. We also made a short link to make it very easy to access. I'll go ahead and put that in the lower thirds right now, but bit.ly/GEG DMV. So that's something, it's kind of a colloquial term. DMV stands for D.C., Maryland, and Virginia, so that's kind of easy to remember as well. So, so those have been some ways that we've been trying to get the word out about joining our GEG.
Awesome, awesome. I've noticed that a lot of GEG groups have members from other places, and I try to join different groups as well to kind of see what's going on there, to see what I can take from that and use with my group as well. Christy, I love the lesson plan, I guess slam or thing you put together. Thank you, thumbs up. I had to save those, and we'll be distributing to teachers in my district. So when you think about those events, and I know some of us who are instructional technologists, we sometimes get a little happy. A tool will come out and we'll go, this is nice, I like this one. But we really have to pay attention to what the teachers need and what they're doing and about the students and their learning. In what you do in your group, how do you sort of balance that focus of these great tools out there versus what people can take today and use tomorrow?
Yeah, I definitely think so. Yeah, the lesson plan jam was a great pilot that Google came to us to do, and we're kind of excited to do more of that, because I agree, we're kind of at that fine line between getting people excited of sharing out what the greatest new app or extension is, but bringing that back down to content and things that are going to change teachers. So at our events and the different times or the things that we've tried to post now, we're trying to kind of sway that more into, let's talk about the things that you currently see as needs in your classroom, and let's brainstorm ways to fix that. And fixing it may be, a great new Google Chrome extension or Google app, or it may be something simple as, let's connect via Hangout to another class and discuss. So just finding out what the people's actual needs are. and kind of better assessing the community. I know we've set up a few Google Plus polls within our community, which I love those because it's quick, easy feedback and to see what the needs are, and then you can kind of gear it toward that.
Excellent. And Jordan, you have a great bird's eye view of what's going on. So what are some of the things that you have seen either within the United States or across the globe that you are looking at and saying, wow, this is fantastic and something that would be great if other GEGs adopted it?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'm going to kind of cheat on this question and say I actually think it always depends on the GEG. Everyone's going to have different needs and challenges and ideas, and so I think at least what this program was designed for and what I personally think is the best approach is just to be responsive and in tune to that. So I think what I've seen that works well then is not so much what kinds of things you do, but getting feedback, getting ideas from your actual members. So like Christy mentioned, polls in Google Plus, that's available now. That's a great, quick, easy, engaging way to kind of have people vote on a certain topic or what kind of event they'd like to see or something they need help with, or surveys. And then another thing that I've seen some groups do that is pretty helpful. This is kind of more in the earlier days when they set up a GEG, but I don't think it's ever too late to do it. They'll try to get a sense of who their members are and map them out on another map. So it kind of personalizes the chapter. You kind of know who's who and where everyone's located, and it just makes it so much easier to know, where it might make sense to get together and how and all those things. And again, it gives you a better sense of who's who. Because I think the challenge with online kind of engagement, it can still feel a little overwhelming. Who posted that? I wonder what they do or why they posted that, or what school they're at, or what their expertise is. So it takes a while for everyone to kind of ramp up and get to know who's who, and I think any way we can visualize that in a chapter is really helpful. But just to pull out some, I think, really cool, impressive things that I've seen happen already. So let's see. I think the beauty of this program is it's flexible. If there's a need or interest in doing an in-person event, we've seen that be done really well. And sometimes it's very informal. Like we've seen, I think in the Midwest, Chicagoland and Wisconsin, they've done just happy hours, and that's fun and that's important. I've been to some teacher events like that, and actually that can be a really powerful way for learning and sharing and networking. Like I remember I attended one in LA a while back, and this teacher had a lot of questions about Flubaroo, and so they were just kind of having a really good discussion for like an hour on Flubaroo, and she ended up wanting to try it out and adopt it. So so that teacher got something out of that, even though at the beginning she wasn't sure and she had a lot of questions and concerns about it. So don't discount, environments or types of events where it's more informal and relaxed. That's okay, and I think that's more appealing anyway. And then that allows a more organic, sharing and learning to happen. Let's see. Another cool event I saw was, I think it was in GEG Hawaii. So the leaders connected with a nonprofit. I'm forgetting the name right now, but the nonprofit is focused on science and geographic exploration. And so they teamed together to do a Google kind of geography tools kind of workshop. So learning more about Google Earth and Google Maps and Street View. And then they also were able to do a hangout with, there's this team out there who's, I think, reenacting the same voyage that settlers did from going from, I think, the Polynesian Islands to Hawaii. And so they teamed up to do a hangout with teachers and their classes with that group doing that voyage. So there's just a really innovative kind of partnership there. I think typically whenever any group of educators reaches out to an organization, chances are they're going to want to help. Everyone loves teachers and loves to support that. And it's a great way for them to get their word out too and help support their community. So that's another best practice I've seen around the world. I think especially in Asia, our chapters have really exploited that. And we're actually going to have another hangout about hearing from them specifically what ideas and tactics they've used to kind of get support from other neighboring organizations. But that's, like, I think one of the best kept or least known secrets. is there's a lot of untapped potential, again, with neighboring organizations. The other cool thing I've seen is down in Australia recently, and I think the leader, Chris Hart, posted this in the community, but they kind of merged a well-being kind of event with their training. So, typically, and there's a lot of discussions and debates over, what is the right modality and format for PD? How do we make sure it's not the typical just sit there and drool and kind of have everything go over your head? So what they decided to do was, and they found a yoga teacher in the community, and again, mentioned that this is for teachers, so they were happy to do it for free. And so I think there was two options. You could either do a yoga session or a boot camp session. So it was a very kind of health-minded, fitness, active, well-being approach at the beginning, and then the teachers could choose what kind of workshop or activity they wanted to do after it. So Chris reported that it was amazingly well received because it engaged, I guess, it was a more holistic approach. Thinking about like, well, okay, let's get ourselves in the right kind of mindset physically and mentally, and then go and do and learn something. And I've seen that kind of implemented at schools too. There's this nonprofit called Playworks out here in the Bay Area, and I think they're expanding to other countries and regions. But the idea is, again, how can we use physical activity and kind of well-being to influence what happens in the classroom and in our learning and growing. And so I have my own kind of like list and pipeline of organizations that I'd love for GEGs to partner with to do really different engagements and just really think outside the box with them and figure out what are the most effective ways to help everyone grow and get what they're looking for. So yeah, those are just kind of some examples of what I've seen. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I think the best bet is to plug into your community and chapter, and pull them and see, what are their needs are, what are they struggling with, what are their challenges, what are they interested in, and go from there. And as Christy mentioned earlier, it's okay to start small. This is organic and there's no rush. These communities are kind of living, breathing organisms, so they take time to kind of grow and flourish. But if you just keep at it, they will definitely get there. I've seen this time and time again with all kinds of audiences. You have to start from somewhere, and it's a new model. It's same with Hawaii. Their chapter is really strong now, but it didn't start out that way. Everyone kind of questioned in the beginning, oh, this is different. I don't really know how to engage with this. But they kept at it. They kept going, and they listened to their community, and now they're doing a lot of really wonderful things, and the feedback's been great. So the most important thing is just to listen, to what people are saying, and just start small and kind of go from there.
Excellent. So Sarah, we're getting into a break, and we're going to get refreshed and renewed. And I know teachers are excited. I saw memes all over Twitter and Facebook. Teachers just like, yeah. So as you are refreshed, you're renewed, what sort of events do you have planned upcoming for DC?
Hopefully we'll be able to get back into our themed hangouts and our themed weeks, where they would do, where members would do challenges, and it's always been a blast just learning from each other. And so definitely doing that. And while Jordan was talking, I was kind of taking down some notes. She says something about awards, so that just kind of, perhaps, members of the GEG D.C. Metro group can nominate each other for some awards, and maybe we could do like an in-house type thing as well. But just continuing with the learning, the fact that teachers are so willing to better themselves and to learn during their time off just speaks so highly of them. So definitely continuing with that and having the communal learning continue to take place organically. That's just some of the most authentic learning. So it's just a pleasure to grow alongside of everyone.
Christy, what's on the horizon for your chapter, for your group?
Apparently I muted myself and forgot that. We're going to, in February, have the GEG Fair, which we're pairing off of TCA, so it'll be an evening event. We're going to have a whole bunch of booths of like everything from Made with Code to Art Project to, just basic Google Drive understanding of that. so people can come up, walk to it, get some introductions. We're going to have like a demo slam booth going on as well, kind of mimicking it off of the Google Playground that Jenny does at ISTE. But for teachers to just come up, we know their brains are going to be tired from TCA, but we want them to see faces of people to make those connections so they can ask questions or have somebody to contact later. And beyond that, we want to start getting kind of doing some more outreach in schools. I was talking to somebody else at Google, and she had brought up having an open school day, and I really like that idea. So kind of a potential doing that to allow students to showcase things that they're doing. I know I have a group of students I work with that constantly say things that they'd love to have teachers doing, from better usage of Google Calendar to you know, using Google Sites. I hear that all the time from high school students. So getting them to speak up and maybe make some movements that way.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. We will, of course, continue to do the on-air events, and in February we're going to have our MECA conference, which is our state, it's the affiliate, and where I plan to have a table and definitely be able to talk to people, and we'll be mentioning it during my presentations as well. So people are watching this, and some people are members, and they know what's going on. And I know, Jordan, you've given us some great information. But for those who are watching or may see this on YouTube or on my blog or tweet it out, and they're saying to themselves, I have the spirit, I want to be a part of this, but there's no group in my city. How can I start one? Could you explain the process for becoming a leader to a GEG group?
Absolutely. So first it starts with visiting our website. That's where we list all of the steps and kind of guidelines. So what you need to do to start a new GEG is get nominated. And you can get nominated from either an existing GEG leader or a Google certified teacher. So if you don't already know or have had contact with either of those groups, on the Google Educator group website, we have a public map directory of all the existing chapters. And so we recommend finding a leader that's kind of near your region and reaching out to them to ask for a nomination. So once they nominate you, then you'll be sent the leader application, and then that's kind of how we'll process the application and get you onboarded and get you up and running. So yeah, at least in the U.S., for now, I think almost every state is covered. So that's the good news. It's more a matter if you want to become a co-leader. Then again, just reach out to that GEG that you want to kind of get involved with. Reach out to the leaders and kind of go from there. We definitely recommend having multiple leaders, co-leaders for each region. You know, the more the merrier, more ideas, representation across the region, you know, all of that. So, but yeah.
Excellent. And thank you all for being on this hangout and sharing your knowledge and experiences. And before we go, I would like to open it out for anyone to give their sort of parting shot. So if anyone has something they want to leave us with, let's jump on in.
Have a
Not
great
everyone
break.
at first now.
Yeah, that's right. The holidays are coming up, so you know, hope everyone has a nice, safe, relaxing, wonderful holiday. I think it's a good time to reflect. You know, think about the new year, reflect on the current year, you know, and just listen to, you know, what are your thoughts on kind of where you're at and where you want to go. You know, what are your needs, what are your goals, and then I think that will kind of help you know, move you forward for what you want to focus on for the next year. It's something that we do on our team quite a bit for lots of different areas. So yeah, so I think it's a great time to kind of pause and you know take a step back and appreciate where you are today and you know where you want to head. So, but yeah, but thanks so much you know for everything you guys already do. You know it's just so wonderful to see how this has taken off, and we're really excited to keep investing and engaging with this program in the future.
Yep. Anyone else? All right. Well, if not, thanks everyone for coming and checking it out and watching it, and be on the lookout for another GEG Mississippi event. Thank you.
Awesome. Have a great one.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you.